In this video, I'm talking about the new, made for any smartphone, Phonak Audeo B Direct Hearing Aid, coming up. Hi guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Anthem, Arizona. And on this channel, I cover a bunch of hearing-related information to help make you a better informed consumer. So if you're into that, consider hitting the subscribe button. Some of the biggest problems that we have with hearing aids that connect directly to smartphones is that up until now, they've only connected with iPhones, or you need to use some kind of streamer device. Well, Phonak set out to change this, and what they did is they came out with a hearing aid called the Audeo B Direct that actually lets you connect with any smartphone. But before I get into this, let me give you a little bit of context of where we came from. Made for iPhone hearing aids have been around since 2014 and started with the Resound Lynx and the Starkey Halo devices. And they really kind of took the hearing industry by storm. Patients were able to interact better, being able to understand on the phone better, being able to stream music directly from their phone, and using other types of devices like streaming from the TV directly to the hearing aids, which is something that had never really been able to be done before. But the biggest problem is that you needed an iPhone to be able to do it. So if you had an Android, either you had to switch over to iPhone or you wouldn't be able to use the benefits of these made for iPhone hearing aids. And really the only manufacturer that hasn't really jumped on that bandwagon up to this point was Phonak. And the reason they didn't is because they didn't really want to have a device that restricted you to only one type of phone. And so what they did is they came out with this new hearing aid that allows you to connect with any phone. Let's talk about the phone features first. The really cool thing is that you can have the phone up to 10 meters or 30 feet away from you and still have all the functionality as if you were holding the phone in your hand. And how that works is that the top button you can actually use and hold down for 2 seconds when a phone call is coming in, and you can answer it. If you want to reject the phone call, you hold it down for longer than 2 seconds. It also picks up your own voice, so you don't need the phone anywhere near you for the person on the other end of the line to hear you, and you can adjust the volume by giving short little presses on your hearing aids in order to take the volume up or bring the volume down. Next, I'm going to talk about the Phonak Remote app. The Phonak Remote app is pretty basic from an app standpoint. It allows you to change programs, connect to the TV connector if you have one. It will allow you to change volume either independently in both hearing aids or together. It also has the ability to adjust if you have any kind of tinnitus masking noise in your hearing aids. It will let you adjust the volume of that. And it will also let you adjust how much sound is coming from a device you're streaming from versus the ambient noise in the room or if someone's talking to you. So pretty basic from that standpoint. It doesn't quite have the functionality of other hearing aid manufacturers, but I think they just wanted to kind of keep it simple. Other kind of little cool things about it is that it has a feature in there that it shows you when the last time you were into your hearing care professional was, and it also tells you how many hours a day on average you're using your hearing aids. All right, let's talk about the TV connector. So the TV connector is essential if you actually want to use these devices to interact directly with the TV. And the problem that we have with a lot of TVs nowadays is that the speakers on these big flat screen TVs that we have are actually pointed backwards or very weak speakers. Some people tend to get sound bars and things like that, which does help a little bit. But at the end of the day, the absolute best way for you to be hearing on the TV is having that sound stream directly to your ears. The way that they accomplish this is that they have a connector box that you just basically plug into the back of your TV and plug into the wall, and through the app on the smartphone you can toggle between interacting with the phone itself or just interacting with nothing or interacting with the TV connector. And if you want to hear better on the TV, streaming that sound directly through your hearing aids up to your prescription for your hearing loss is the absolute hands down best way to do that. And finally, the quality and design of Phonak hearing aids I think is just spectacular and second to none. And from a professional programming standpoint, I find that Phonak hearing aids are among the easier hearing aids in order to properly program them to your prescription for your hearing loss using real ear verification. Now that being said, I know that the design aspect is a complete subjective interpretation of what I feel they look like, but I think Phonak really has a sleek design, and really the thing that's impressive about these devices is that they've actually put a size 13 battery in there and have kept the device about the same size as a size 312 battery, which is skinnier. And the reason that's important is because you do get that extra battery life, which when you're streaming a lot from the phone or from the TV, it creates this issue of you needing to change your batteries more often. So having a larger battery is more beneficial if you want to be changing your battery much less often. And of course, we couldn't have all upside. There are actually a few things that I don't like about the Phonak Audeo B Direct hearing aids. And the first one is that they don't stream the phone calls to both ears, nor do they stream music directly from the phone without using some form of intermediary device. And when I say this, it's super important to understand that we hear better when two ears participate in a task. And particularly when you have a hearing deficiency, picking one ear to go with versus the other really puts you at a deficit compared to a phone that could stream to both ears. This is the main feature that I hate of these hearing aids, and while you can select which ear gets the streaming of the phone calls, I don't understand why. I know it's made for Android and iPhone and Windows phones, but how can my Bragi wireless headphones stream to both ears on phone calls and these hearing aids cannot? It really kind of baffles me. I've been given explanations from Phonak, but it still doesn't quite make sense how it can happen with a $400 pair of headphones versus a couple $1,000 pair of hearing aids. Downside number 2 is that the app has limited functionality. And while sometimes it's nice to have just a very simple app that allows you to do just a few things, some of the other hearing aid manufacturers that have made direct for iPhone technology give you a little bit more functionality and the ability to control things like background noise a little bit better, increase speech clarity, kind of change the way that you would hear based on certain environments. And Phonak just doesn't have those features. You can basically increase volume, decrease volume, change your program, and that's pretty much it. The other problem that I have with the hearing aids is that they're not compatible with other accessories. And I'm a huge fan of accessories, particularly if you want to hear better in background noise. But with the Audeo B Direct devices, you can't use a Roger pen, you can't use a remote microphone, both things which Phonak does a really good job with. And the other thing is you can't use a cross transmitter, which Phonak is really good with as well. And so if you have one ear that doesn't function very well and you have a hearing aid on the other side, you can either pick between directly streaming phone calls and TV and things like that, or using a cross transmitter. Obviously these hearing aids aren't perfect, but I think it's just a matter of time before Phonak figures out a way to stream music and phone calls into both ears at the same time. At the end of the day, if you're the type of person who just does not want to switch over to iPhone, if you have a hearing loss in only one ear, or if you just really like Phonak's technology, then going with the Audeo B Direct hearing aid really makes a lot of sense. Just remember that success with hearing aids largely depends on the hearing care professional that fits them to you. Even the most expensive, greatest hearing aid on the planet won't solve your hearing problems if it's not properly fit and programmed for your hearing loss. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.